Well, this is awesome. It's been just a wonderful evening. I'm sorry with the snafu with the food, but I'm so glad you all came tonight. Before I start my formal remarks, if any of you know my husband, Jim, you know that he's a very funny guy. Another thing about him is he does not like it when I get my hair cut, which I just did this weekend, and he's still recovering. So since he does so much for the Alliance, can we all just humor Jimbo here for a minute and with this slide that he created just to rib me about my latest haircut. You know that was his idea. So, some of you may know that in my former life I was a nurse anesthetist. So my job back then was to put people to sleep. But in my new role as the founder of the Mom and Pop Alliance, my job is to wake people up. Yes. By that, I mean waking people up to the roadblocks imposed on small businesses and the need for us to all come together for a better climate for all businesses. To our very generous sponsors tonight, especially OTB Tax, and to all our supporters, I want you to see what the Alliance actually doing to wake people up to the problems small businesses are facing in our work to find good, common sense legislative solutions in Columbia. And I want to answer the question I hear most often: why are you doing this? People often wonder, if my business is fine, why do Jim and I donate so much time to this cause? But our work is paying off. We are excited about the growth of the Mom and Pop Alliance. It was just last month that we received our notice of our 501c3 nonprofit status. This is huge because we now will have two separate organizations to work on the mission of empowering South Carolina small businesses and furthering free market principles in our state. The Mom and Pop Alliance will continue our work on education on various issues impacting business, while the Mom and Pop Advocacy will travel to Columbia to lobby on behalf of them. On the education side, we have written many articles on a variety of topics. We've written about the liquor liability issue that you heard about, including telling the story of Sue Medlin. She owns Wings and Things in Anderson, and she survived opening her restaurant right before the 2008 economic crisis. And she later kept her business alive despite 6 months of restrictions on all restaurants in South Carolina during COVID. She never imagined that finding liquor liability insurance would be her next business nightmare coming from bad governmental policies. We have highlighted how the only climate change class action lawsuit filed in the entire Southeast against an energy company is from South Carolina. We explained how if this goes through and they win, energy costs on all of us will increase. We have written extensively on the potential impact of ESG social credit scoring on small businesses, as well as our concerns about the way, and you heard about this, the way the $1.3 billion incentive package was awarded to Scout Motors Volkswagen for the production of electric vehicles, breaking all tradition by sailing through the South Carolina House and the Senate in a matter of days. And we traveled the state from Myrtle Beach to Florence, to Bluffton, to Aiken, to Rock Hill, and all over the upstate, delivering our in-person presentation on ESGs. It's a disastrous form of social credit scoring, and we warned about the risk it poses on businesses. On the advocacy side, we help educate and enlighten legislators on issues family-owned businesses are dealing with. I have to say, I don't think citizens realize how difficult it is to be a legislator. It's a part-time job, but most of them have full-time jobs in addition. They have to leave their families and travel to Columbia. They have very little staff, and they have literally hundreds of issues before them, and I mean hundreds. So it's not humanly possible to read everything and to be up on every issue. So we see it as up to us to let them know about the challenges businesses are going through and to collaboratively seek solutions. And that's why we did that South Carolina Constitution. We've done a lot of different educational events for legislators. So whether it's the auto glass shops who are being shut out by monopolistic practices, and we have some of those here tonight, or the mom and pop durable medical equipment dealers, you just heard from Bill, being forced to pay an unfair tax, or the critical need for tort reform to protect our bars and restaurants, but really this impacts all types of businesses from these unfair lawsuits. We are trying to be their voice. Big business has lobbyists down in Columbia every day advocating on their behalf, but small business is often left out of the process. One of the ways we help inform legislators is through our signature popcorn, which we give to all 170 of them. You each have a sample of it tonight, so you'll get to taste what it is that the legislators get from us. We also traveled to Columbia to testify at subcommittee and committee hearings. Clearly, my passion for small business is great. For example, I have been fortunate to have the opportunity to be a guest lecturer for Clemson University undergraduate students about the keys to a successful small business. I think imparting this importance of entrepreneurship onto future generations is just so important. So why volunteer so much of my time to this mission when my bakery is doing just fine? Two big reasons. One, I think healthy small businesses are vital for a free society. You know, it's interesting that in communist nations, one of the first groups they try to take out are the small business owners. And they do this because they're decentralized and they can't control them. And also their independence and their ability to innovate is a threat to the regime. But my passion also comes from my own personal experience. In 2016, our bakery was really put through the ringer, and I mean, it was unbelievable, just trying to get our doors open. In our 8 years of doing business since, we've experienced many trials, including our mixer breaking down on December 20th, and the supplier saying, we can't get a new mixer to you until after New Year's. Of all of these trials we've been to, I have to say they all pale in comparison to what I went through navigating local and state regulations to receive our certificate of occupancy. And it wasn't just me who thought this. Even our architect said, we have done buildings in dozens of states, even California, and we have never seen what you are dealing with in Greenville, South Carolina. And I would later learn that I was not alone. Other businesses were going through the same thing. So then 2020 came and the Orwellian COVID policies. I know for me, COVID's kind of a blur and I've kind of forgotten many of the details. But I recall how shocked and angry I was to see small businesses labeled as non-essential. Yeah. While our state was better than many, even in South Carolina, our governor forced restaurants to maintain 50% capacity for 6 months after the start of the pandemic, with mandatory face coverings going even longer than that. And there was a restriction on alcohol sales after 11 p.m. for over a year in our state from the start of the pandemic. So while small businesses just want to be left alone, like it or not, it's clear we have to get more engaged in governmental policy making. But the problem is we're too busy running our businesses. When I learned that South Carolina's 432,000 small businesses had very little representation in Columbia relative to our size, it became clear we needed an organization to help bring us together and find our voice. I believe just being organized is a great insurance policy for the future if some other crazy restrictions are placed on small business. I realized if not me, then who? And that is how the Mom and Pop Alliance was formed 4.5 years ago. You know, most nonprofits obtain their funding through taxpayer-funded federal or state grants. The state reps here can tell you of the hundreds of nonprofits in South Carolina, many who do not share your values, who apply and receive state-funded grants. We don't. We are completely self-funded, and we purposely keep our membership dues very low so even very small businesses can participate. Now, running two statewide organizations is going to require more time, more talent, more resources. My hope is that we become a stronger force in the future, and with your help, I believe our membership can expand across the state, giving small businesses the much-needed representation they deserve. Even non-business owners can become members of the Mom and Pop Alliance because embracing free market principles is beneficial to everyone. I think the silver lining of COVID is that it woke us up, and it made us realize that our nation doesn't embrace individual freedom as much as we thought. We now realize that it's up to us to do our part to restore it. Small business is essential for maintaining freedom, and freedom is essential for successful small businesses. Your presence here tonight, knowing that some have traveled from all over the state, including the Low Country and even North Carolina, you guys coming, everybody who's here tonight, I can't tell you, this is amazing to think that this was just an idea a few years ago, and then look at this, and we could not do it without all of you. Your help in growing membership and financial support is the key to our success. I appreciate anything you can do to help us in this mission. It was Winston Churchill who once said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." Thank you so much for coming here tonight. I have a little bit of, I just need to give a few thanks to some special people that made this event possible. But before that, I have to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to my daughter, Lindsay, who traveled round trip. It's going to be 8 hours of driving for her to be here tonight to support her mom. So it's very sweet. And I want to give a shout out to my hair salon, Mid Salon. They are here tonight and they are awesome. Despite what Jim says, they are awesome. Mid Salon is great. They're big supporters of the Mom and Pop Alliance, and I love my hair, even if he doesn't. And then I want to take a minute to recognize a few people that made tonight possible. Of course, my husband, Jim. So I had a wonderful host committee help me with this event tonight. Brenda Stewart, can you step up while I give you a thank you? Okay. And Suzanne Pickens. And Diane Mitchell. And of course, our wonderful MC this evening, Joey Hudson. Thank you, and I'm excited to see who's going to win this raffle tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Diane.